Hello everyone, my name is Philip. I'm the casual cat dad. The casual as in the casual gamer who loves that as a hobby and does it as a hobby quite a lot. And the cat dad as a stereotype for a person that owns cats and loves them as if they were my children. And I do own them too, and I consider them as if they were my own family. I didn't want to make this video originally back in the beta, so quite some time ago now, as I did manage to play I think the second beta, and I fell in love with the game, and I'm a huge Marvel fan. And also because there were a lot of heroes that they put into the game which are very niche, kind of like Penny Parker, Magic, and some others who are not that popular, but they managed to make them work, and I just love how NetEase does their characters. Now, to cut the video shorter, because originally I made a list of a bunch of characters, and I scrapped that recording because it was so much. I managed to cut down into 4 categories, so who I wanted to see in Vanguard, Duelists, Strategists, Position, and Honorable Benches, which are heroes who I can see in multiple roles. Now, I want to mention that this is my wish list of characters that I wish to see, and I respect others' opinions. I watched other people's wish lists, and I always love to see what people think, how they think the character can be implemented into the game. And I won't be mentioning like heavily leaked characters, like Emma Frost, who is now finally confirmed because the day of the recording of this video originally, the trailer came out and I had to shoot the reaction right away. Somewhere around on the screen, you'll be able to see that if you wanna, you'll be able to see the link if you wanna see that video. I was very excited. As you can see, I'm kind of stumbling on my words just as I'm speaking about it, because Emma Frost is my #1 superhero. Villain, anti-hero. I mean, she's been through a lot of phases. And Jean Grey, who definitely wouldn't be on my list, but there are many leaks suggesting that she is coming sooner rather than later, so I won't be including her in this tier list. So I'll be going into the order of Vanguards, Duelists, and Strategists, just like how they appear in the game on the sidebar, and the last one will be honorable mentions, as I said, heroes who fit multiple roles. So let's start off with the Vanguards. First one that I definitely would like to see in the game, and I think would fit perfectly into the game, and deserves a lot of love because I find her very interesting character in the comics, is Armor. She has the psionic power to create this kind of a psionic armor around herself, and I think that she'll be an amazing addition to the Vanguards. She can kind of work with a thing. They can also kind of make her powers a bit different than what they are in the comics, so that she can maybe create some additional shields, even though she doesn't do that much in the comics. But definitely, I think that she will be an interesting addition to the comics. To the Marvel rivals. As for me, she is a no-brainer if you want an obscure character, a diverse character who can fit in the Vanguard role perfectly without much adjustment, and that we can see that visuals are amazing already in the game, so I don't think that the NetEase will have a lot of problems implementing a girl inside of a psionic armor. The next one is a character that I think is on many people's lists, and I do not judge them. I think he's an amazing character. I have fond memories when I was reading the Giant Size X-Men, and that is Colossus. Now, we already have his sister in the game, and we do have similar characters like him, like the Thing. I mean, similar in a way that how I imagine him to be played, but I just think that he's a no-brainer to be added at some point, as he has a lot of fans. He can be very creative, with the use of his powers, maybe ricocheting stuff off of him, kind of like with the Cap's shield. You can have interesting team-ups with him, especially there is a famous one that's currently already in the game, the Fastball Special, which originated from him and the Wolverine. So you can have a lot of interesting stuff going around with Colossus, and I think that I can speak for many people here, he will be a very good eye candy. Now, the next one is the people that I did not see many mention, or have mentioned her in a bit of a different way, is Spider-Woman, specifically Jessica Drew. I like Jessica Drew quite a lot. I read some of her solo runs. I have very recently read the New Avengers, and I think she's overall a very interesting character to read. And I think her power sets are pretty cool. Even though they are similar to Spider-Man, to some degree they are different enough to justify her being her own character. She can discharge like this sort of a bio something blasts, which can damage the nervous system of the enemy. However, what I would like to see them do, kind of like what they did with the Emma Frost now, which is, I think, an amazing ultimate for Emma Frost, is to have sort of a taunt ability with her pheromones, even for like a second, because in this fast-paced game, even a second can be a huge difference. And I would like to see that this character has done justice, because she doesn't have a lot of outings. The next character is a character that's also appeared in a lot of wish lists, and I do agree with them. Also, I'm not sure how would she work, but I think that she will be an interesting addition, simply because of how fun she is, and her voice lines, I think will be very interesting. Her team ups will be interesting. Is She-Hulk. She-Hulk, as we all know, is the cousin of the Bruce Banner, who got the powers via blood transfusion, and she kind of has the same powers as him. She seems to be a bit weaker because she doesn't get angry as much and can stay permanently in the Hulk state and still retain her personality and intelligence. So maybe make her a bit more agile than a Hulk, I guess. Or, you know, like more of like a support tank, pillar tank, off tank than a main tank. But she's overall a very, very interesting character to me. Her comics, while not always being super focused, especially the newer ones, that was sadly cancelled, but super focused on the superhero aspect of her. I just find her very interesting, and I think it will be a great addition to the roster. But I trust NetEase, but I am not a game developer. I just don't know how would she fit and be different from what we have already in the game with the Hulk, the Thing. How would she separate herself and stand out on her own? Like, for instance, how Penny Parker, Magneto, and Doctor Strange kind of have their own little niches where they work, and even Thor. How would she fit that? Now, the last one, there was some leaks, which I don't know if they're true or not, and I don't want to go into them, that she'll be coming as a strategist, and honestly, I don't see that. I really don't. She was the leader of the X-Men for a while, successful one at that. She has been a very popular character for Marvel in general, not just the X-Men, for quite a long time, and she has won the hearts of many millennials like myself, is Rogue. I do not see her as strategist. I see her as a Vanguard with Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel power sets, and stealing abilities from other. But if I could pick one Vanguard to see in the game, out of all that I mentioned, this would be the one. Not as a strategist, definitely. I think she deserves a role on the front lines because she has a very big personality. She has very interesting powers that I'm not sure how they work inside the game. I think it would be tricky to kind of make justice to the character, but at the same time, she's so iconic, especially with the X-Men 97. I think she'll be a great addition to the roster and someone that a lot of people will pick, and maybe have more people gonna play Vanguards, as usually there's a problem if there's only one Vanguard or none. Sadly, so my little old strategist and my very rusty and casual skills kind of struggle to keep that one Vanguard alive. Now, the next one will be, of course, the Duelist, everyone's favorite. So first one that I would definitely love to see, and even though she has had a decent amount of love for being a lesser known character, not necessarily obscure, just a bit lesser known, is Jubilee. I think that 97 kind of displayed a different version of her powers. Of course, in the comics, she does go into a lot of different ways, a lot of creative ways of using her powers, and is a very powerful character that's often memed upon. Even though her powers are actually extremely strong, I think she will be a great addition and someone that can maybe also be like Scarlet Witch, an easier character, sort of for the new players to quickly get into the game who don't want to maybe play Scarlet Witch. The next one on the list is a character that I see on some wish lists, and people kind of get her wrong. is Domino. Now, I know that Marvel retcons a lot of stuff, but I will go by what was said in one of the X Factors was that she needs to actually do something. Her powers are luck based. However, it is not that she has a power of luck. She telekinetically manipulates the possibility fields around her. So if she was to be shot and she sees that coming and moves, something will happen to that bullet that kind of misses her. So having someone kind of like Star-Lord, she can use a dual wielding weapons, as she often is portrayed with, and kind of goes into the back line, attacks the back line, but when she needs to get out, she kind of has this sort of a dodge ability where she's invulnerable for some time, or takes less damage, or something like that. She flips, does kicks, whatever. Will be very interesting. And you can have sort of a basic character who just shoots, do something very interesting, and be a very visually nice character to have. The next one is, I think, the most popular character in any wish list is, of course, Iceman. And I'm shocked that he's not in the game from the start, because usually back in the day, whenever a Marvel game would be announced, 3 characters would always appear from the X-Men. That will be Wolverine, Storm, and Iceman. I think it's no-brainer that he will at one point come, and definitely character that I would like to see. The last character on the list, but definitely not the least for the Duelist, is someone who can kind of be hybrid like a Storm, or even be on his own, but I definitely think that he will be hybrid, is, of course, one of my fan favorites, Cyclops. Cyclops has a very easy power to implement into any game, I think. So far, I haven't seen a game that he wasn't done justice. He also is a very capable hand-to-hand combatant, so having him have an escape option, and also what they did in the X-Men 97, like with the blast, slowing down his fall and stuff like that, will be really cool. And the knockbacks and whatnot, very interesting. However, he's a natural born leader as well, so maybe have one of his abilities inspire his allies, maybe to deal more damage, maybe to give them a temporary shield boost, maybe even shorten the cooldown of the abilities. You can go crazy with it. So the last 5 before the honorable mentions are my favorite class to play in this game, if I can call it class, the Strategists. So to start things off is someone that I do think will come because of his growing popularity is Wiccan. He has already healed in the comics. He has shown that he knows some healing abilities and healing spells in the comics. I think it will be very interesting to see him and have team ups with his mother, Wanda. And you can just go very creative with his character. And I think he will just really fun. Has a really cool design, really cool costumes, in my opinion. And I think he can bring a lot to the table and kind of have this sort of a playing field, as with all the Magic users. You kind of have this playing field with developers, I think, where they can pick and choose whatever iconic moments they want to use from the comics or movies, in his case, TV shows and comics. But they can kind of pick and choose what they want to use for their abilities. And of course, as a Magic user, he has a lot of them. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see him in this game. The next one is a very obscure character that I don't think a lot of people know, is Sister Grimm or Nico Minoru. Nico is, for me, a very fun character. I love her. Especially when I played Midnight Suns, again, Marvel game that didn't gain a lot of popularity for some reason. I think that she will fit the strategist role, especially with her use of the blood magic, where she kind of sacrifices her own health to heal the others. I was struggling to see her in this game is that most of her powers come from her Staff of One. And the Staff of One is basically she can use every spell once. I would use the Staff of One just maybe as a channeling tool and just use it as an ult. And again, as I said with Wiccan, she's a magic user, so you can kind of go crazy with her. She does have a bit more limitations, but she's also very powerful, so... And I think that her being a strategist also fits her, simply because I think she can put a lot of hexes and curses and like debuff the enemies and be more of an off healer than an actual main healer, kind of like Adam Warlock is. Next one is someone that I just won from the MCU actually. I grew to love Pepper Potts, and I know that in the comics she exists as Rescue, and she has a suit specifically designed to rescue Iron Man. And she does kind of have that some version of it in the end game, and I think it was a really power couple move when her and Iron Man were like fighting together. So maybe having her appear as a rescue will be an interesting thing, because you could just use a lot of healing powers or maybe shield powers alongside with that, kind of like Sue Storm. So I definitely would like to see her. The next one is a very obscure character that I have seen in comics, and I like her personality. It's very cheerful with a bit of a dark side, thanks to magic. Thanks, Ileana. It's Pixie. Pixie's powers are to fly, and she has a soul dagger, which can damage demons. And she has like this pixie dust that she can like cause hallucinations, but that was a thing at Con. Going back again to Susan Storm, Loki, and everyone that don't necessarily have the exact powers that they have in the comics, I think it would be interesting to have this sort of a melee fighter with her dagger and flying, while using her dust to kind of heal the allies. Now, the last one on the list is someone that's connected to my very favorite, very lovable, darling, Emma Frost. I'm trying to do a fake British accent like her and it's not working. I would like to see Stepford Cuckoos, and I'm specifically talking about the 3-in-1. So Stepford Cuckoos, for those of you who don't know, are Emma Frost's clones. There was 1,000 of them. All of them but 5 died. In the end, 2 of them died as well. They couldn't turn villainous. 3 remain. They sort of have this hive mind. And what I envision is having one of them on the field while the other 2 support her through Cerebro, for instance. And sort of having this hive mind. And I think that, like, I can kind of envision them being sort of like Mercy, where they telepathically link to an ally to either damage boost them or to heal them. And I think it would be really cool to kind of have these 3, like have this triple voice talking. Now, the last one is honorable mentions. As I said, these characters are just characters that I can see in multiple roles. I'm just gonna go quickly through them simply because they can be either anything or fit into 2 roles. So the first one is Ms. Marvel or Kamala Khan, and I can see her both as a Vanguard or a Duelist. The next one is a Guardian of the Galaxy that's been absent for some reason from the main roster, is definitely Gamora. She can also be a Vanguard or a Duelist. Finish listing characters who are potential divers, who can be a potential divers. Anyway, the next one is, again, one of the characters that really needs some love, and people meme on her so much, and I just find her really fun. And that's Dazzler, the superstar, Alison Blair, who is kinda teased in the map. New York map, you can see a poster for her concert. And I can see her going as a Duelist or a Strategist. I think it would be fun to see her as a Strategist and have her ultimate be also kind of like a disco dance and have her and Luna do the dance. I think that'd be really cool. And maybe have a pair up with Luna. The next one is someone who is God. Like, maybe the best show next to WandaVision is Agatha. Now, I haven't read the recent comics, as I mentioned, so I'm going back to the old Agatha. And I don't mind seeing the Granny Agatha or the young Agatha in the game. Maybe Granny will be a bit more fun if she goes strategist role, but I can see her both as Duelist or Strategist. And the last one is another character connected to a lovely Scarlet Witch, is Vision. I can see him in any role. I don't know how they would do his phasing abilities though, without breaking the game. Just like reason why I didn't put Kitty Pryde in, even though I like her. But I can see him in all 3 roles. With that out of the way, I would like to thank you for watching all of this, and I would like to mention that I would like to see them do also variables in the future. Characters who are not exactly as they are currently in the game. First that comes to mind is one of my favorites, Betsy Braddock, who was the Psylocke for a long time, and now she's Captain Britain. To have her as a Captain Britain and not just a skin for Psylocke, where she would, maybe be a Vanguard with a shield and a sword that she currently creates quite a lot. Or maybe even have like an exclusive costumes. They would change the voice lines of the characters to have the same powers, like Peggy Carter, not Sharon Carter. That's a different character. I mix their first name up. So I'll have to see that in the future, and maybe even like have some characters who could fit those criteria, like the skins, but have them be a completely different character, like Yelena. I would like to thank also Zephilog for editing this for me. Thank you so much, as I really don't know how to edit videos, so this would have been a nightmare for me. Dana, who has her podcast called Kinozuri, and as soon as she uploads, I will post the link below. Zephilog does have his own YouTube channel, and I really love his shorts, so I will post that down below. And if you would like to, you can follow me at Twitch, the Casual Cat Dad, where I stream Marvel Rivals and horror games. I currently don't have a schedule, but I'm working on it, you know, real life stuff. But I definitely plan to stream more in the near future, and I hope that you can catch me there, follow me, like, subscribe if you wish. If you don't, it's all fine. And I would like to hear your opinion. Which one of these characters would you like to see, and also your wish lists? As this game is so fun, and Marvel has so many characters, you know, we can be here all day talking about characters that would be cool for the game or they would like to see. So it was really hard to narrow down to just 5 per role. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you're safe. Take care.